start second unit, so that is part B. So that is assembly line balancing. So the name of the second part is assembly line balancing. So first, what is assembly? Assembly is nothing but joining of two or more components. So finally we will get a single component. That component is considered as assembly. So assembly is nothing but joining process. Okay, so here assembly involves joining of two or more components, so to create a new entity, which is called assembly of the components of the new entity, so connected together. So generally when consider assembly or joining process, we have permanent assemblies and temporary assemblies. So permanent assembly means they cannot break. So temporary assembly is also called as semi-permanent assembly. Okay, here the components can easily break. So generally assembly line can be divided into three components. So that is mechanical fastening, second one joining methods, and third one is the adhesive bonding. Okay, mainly assembly line balancing can be characterized into three components. Main assembly can be divided into three characterized. So first one mechanical fastening, second one joining methods, and third one is the adhesive bonding. So first one mechanical fastening. So mechanical fastening means mechanical assembly methods. So for example, joining of screws, nuts, rivets, bolts, like that. So mechanical assembly methods are available to fasten two or more components together in a single joint that can be conveniently disassembled or permanently assembled. So when consider mechanical fastening means, here generally we will use mechanical fastenings are threads. The thread fastening. So thread fastening means screws, bolts, and nuts. So these are the temporary joining methods. Okay, so for joining of any mechanical component we use threads, bolts, and nuts. Okay, so these mechanical fastening, that means threaded fastenings are used in automobile components and also trucks, like that. Okay, home purpose also some of the tables are are joined by use screws or bolts. So when consider without mechanical fastening, there is no component in the mechanical industry. Okay, next one is permanent joints. So permanent joints means rivets and press fit. So rivets means generally it is also joining process. So when we join rivets, there is no change in the physical structure. Okay, so initially the component is one way, finally also it is same component, there is no change in the physical structure. Second one is press fit. So press fit means already you know that fits. So in metrology subject we have clearance fit, interference fit, and transmission fit, like that. So here interference fit is nothing but press fit. So press fit means here the hole diameter is very small when compared to the shaft diameter. So when some pressure is required to fit that object, so that is called press fit. Okay, next press fit applications of rivets is, generally rivets are used for joining of automobile components and aerospace. So generally in automobiles or aerospace industry we used sheet metal, that is aluminum, because aluminum has light in weight and it does not it resists high load also. So that's why all automobile means some of the automobiles and aircraft industry we use aluminum. So rivets are used in aluminum metals. Next one is joining methods. So joining method means generally we have three types of joining methods: welding, brazing, and soldering. So generally already these are also completed, you have in manufacturing technology subject. Okay, excuse me. So first one, what is welding? Welding is the process of joining similar or dissimilar metals by the application of heat, with or without application of pressure, and with or without addition of filler metal. So while doing welding we consider three parameters. First one heat, second one is pressure, and third one is the heat, pressure, and filler metal. Okay, so filler metal is nothing but it is a metal rod. The material of the filler rod depends upon the base metal. So when considered this joining process, we have another two process, that is brazing and soldering. So brazing and soldering are also similar to that welding process, but here the filler metal temperature is for below 500 degrees centigrade. So while doing brazing and soldering, the parent metal is does not melted because we used filler metal temperature is very less. Sorry for disturbance. Okay, so brazing and soldering here. So brazing and soldering, so it is one type of joining process, but here melting point temperature of the filler rod is very less. So generally we use brazing and soldering for joining of small, very small components like electrical industry and electronic industry. Okay, next, adhesive bonding. Okay, so generally what is meant by adhesiveness? So it is one type of property, adhesiveness and cohesiveness. So adhesiveness means sticking nature of the same component with other components. Okay, so cohesiveness means sticking nature of same components. Adhesiveness means sticking nature of one component to the other component. So in adhesive material is used to join the components together. Okay, adhesiveness is nothing but sticking nature, same components. So when come to the adhesive bonding, here two types of adhesiveness, thermoplastic adhesiveness and thermosetting adhesiveness. So what is the difference between thermoplastics and thermosettings? Generally when we use thermoplastics, so here we use thermoplastics means the thermoplastics are recycling one. So it is softened when it is heated, they get required shape at heated condition. So when it cools, the shape changes. So when we have to recycle that, we can change the shape. So that is thermoplastics. Thermosetting plastic means they cannot reuse. Once they solidified, they cannot regain to the original shape. So that is the main difference between thermoplastics and thermosetting plastic. Difference is thermoplastic means we can reuse, thermosetting plastic means we cannot reuse. Okay, so thermoplastic adhesiveness is easy to apply, cannot withstand high temperatures. Next, thermosetting adhesiveness more complicated, can withstand high temperatures. Okay, next topic, types of assembly systems. So in that first one, manual single station assembly, second one manual assembly lines, and third one automated assembly systems. Okay, so first one, manual single station assembly. So manual single station assembly means here the single manual assembly cell consists of single workplace in which the assembly of work is accomplished on the product or some of the major sub-assembly products. So in single station single line assembly means here assembly of the components is one, the workers also one or more they are doing work in this section. Okay, so when we use manual single assembly station, some of the drawbacks. Okay, so what are they means? Run by the manually and consist of a one workstation. Okay, so only one workstation here available, only one workstation, and may use one or more workers. Next one is here only one workstation and also minimum number of the workers available. So that's why we need high skilled required. So mainly it is used in mission tools, aircraft industries. Okay, manual single station assembly is used in mission tools, aircrafts like that. Okay, so mainly manual single station assembly means here single manual assembly consists of single workplace and two or more workers. Okay, so that is manual single station assembly. Next, manual assembly lines. So manual assembly lines means here number of workstations is there and also number of workers also working at the workstation. For example, 10 workstations is there. So 10 workers are working on that workstation. Okay, so that is manual assembly lines. So here definition is a manual assembly line is a production of line that consists of sequence of workstations that they where assembly takes are performed by human workers as depicted in the following figure. Components added each station. Okay, so 10 workstation we have available 10 workstations. So each workstation we have one worker is also available. So that is manual assembly lines. Second one, automated assembly system. So generally automated assembly system means here we cannot use human. Okay, so some of the industries who used the robots like that. So here also automated system means here for example we have available number of machines, we can change the tools. So frequently they can change the tools, so based on CNC program. Okay, so here the automated assembly lines used in different applications like buildings and also fitting of the tools in mechanical industries. Next, assembly of the components. So based on the application we will use different types of robots. So all these are work depends on CNC programmings. Okay, so the term automated assembly refers to the use of mechanized and automated devices to perform the various assembly tasks in an assembly line or cell. Okay, so automated assembly line means without human being we used robots like that by using CNC program. Next topic, transfer of work between the manual assembly stations. So when consider manual assembly stations we have available two types of mechanical lines. So non-mechanical lines and second one is moving conveyors. Okay, so here transfer of work between the manual assembly stations, that means to transfer the work from one place to another place. So here we have two types. First one non-mechanical lines and second one is the moving conveyors. So non-mechanical line means parts are transferred by hand. Okay, like human being. So here when we use non-mechanical lines, so what are the drawbacks? So first one is uneven work transfer between the stations. Okay, so for example when consider boring, so after completion of the for example we can tap one hole. So before that what we have to do, first we have to drill the component and then only tapped. So when we use machines it is sequence process, but when we use hand means sometimes we can change the sequence. That is one of the drawback. Second one is irregular cycle time, so lot of time wastages like this. These are some of the drawbacks. Second one is moving conveyors. So generally what is the function of conveyor? Conveyor is used to transfer the objects from one place to another place. Okay, so when we use conveyors we can reduce the time and also it requires less number of workers. Okay, so next one, generally where we have to see the conveyors, for example lifts. Okay, next one, lifts is also one type of conveyor. Okay, to transfer the parts from one place to another place. So that is conveyors. Next one is assembly workstation. Okay, so assembly workstation means an assembly, generally when assembly workstation means so how the work is assembled to the workers or any machinery components. Okay, so in this a workstation is a manual assembly line designed the location along the workflow path at which one or more work elements are performed, one or more workers. For example, the three or more four members are working in the same work in the department. So here we have to assemble different workstations for each person. Okay, that is assembly workstation. So here see this, an assembly line is the manufacturing process. So often processing progressive assembly in which the parts, usually interchangeable parts, are added as the semi-finished assembly moves from workstation to the workstation where the parts are added in the sequence until the final assembly is produced. So for example, when consider, for example, we will take casting process. So that is one of the manufacturing process. So when we use the casting process, some after completion of the casting, in some of the components we have defects and some of the components has finished successfully. So that components we have to next stage, that is inspection. After inspection is completed, then it is go to the painting. Okay, for example, casting is completed, then it will go to the inspection stage. When there is some defect, so then it will draw back to the initial position. Okay, for example, some of the components are without any damage, then it will go to the packing. So these are the assembly of workstations. So workstation includes the tools required to perform the task assigned to the stations. Okay. Mm, Next, so when consider workstations, here we have different types. Some of the workstations the workers are standing, and some of the workstations the workers are sitting, like that. So station area to perform their assigning task. This is common for assembly of large products, for such as cars, trucks, like that. Okay. Okay, I will stop the class here. Thank you.